Yeah, morning guys. Start with it. So where are we in the last session mainly? Why you are not coming to the class? Hmm. Any other busy work? What about you?
We had exams.
Exams. Okay. Okay. The major focus in the system design. Okay. So in the system design, like a few topics like last session and before that I will complete it so far. So let me give some brief intro about that. We'll resume that. I have been okay. So the major things like mainly we are discussing about the load balancing and next one is the API gateway and another is a reverse proxy. So can anyone tell what is the major difference between the each? What is the purpose? Why I have to use and which one I have to choose? Which one? We'll start from the load balancer. What is the purpose of the load balancer? Why I have to choose that? What is the benefit? Tell what is the purpose of load balancer? Yeah, you are in the last session, right?
Distributing and managing the server.
Distribute the
Servers.
distribute to the server. Which one you are going to distribute?
Multiple servers.
You know, think properly and tell it properly. That is load balance. Forget. Hmm? What is load balance? Okay, we'll start. What is load actually? What is meant by load? We'll come to the balancing later. What is load? Hmm? Data. Sorry? Data. Data is a load. My question is simple. You just tell what is load balance.
Very normal.
What are the multiple requests are coming from the server?
Server request coming from the server or users?
From the users. So
From the user, is it correct?
Multiple
Yes.
tasks per single server.
Hmm?
Multiple tasks per single server.
Multiple tasks for single server. Okay. Handles the failure. That are some of the part. What is the core actually? Okay, like design it. How the application look like? Let's start from like okay, library management. Okay, library management have the two services. So this is my service one. Let's assume this is my user service. Okay, and assume this is my book service. What are the books I have in my library? This is my payment service. Is it carried out? Clear, right? Now, these are the services. These should be communicate to each other, right? How that thing going to happen? You have to make the communication between the each thing, right? Here to there to here. How can I do that?
We are using dependencies.
Dependencies. Why I have to use dependencies here? My question is simple. This is my library management. This is my project architecture. Okay. Now I have the three repos. That means the three repositories. I created as a user service, book service, payment service. These are the three services. Then because this is going to be the microservice, I have to reuse. I have some other benefits also if you are deploying the things as a different services. Okay. Compare with the monolith. Okay, fine. There is no doubt in it. Now I have to do the communication also. Like between those two servers, I have to do the communication, right? Okay, fine. So which one coming to the picture while doing the communication? This is the first question. Okay, keep in your mind. Next, what is the next top level hierarchy? What is the next hierarchy? Top of the your services, which one will be there? What is the purpose of I explain the design, system design then?
Control.
Controller. Controller come under each services, right? These are the three services, totally different. Each services have the controller, everything it have inside the service. Now each services I deployed in one machine. Now assume okay, each three things are running in my system. Okay. Then top of it, what I have to do now?
Servers.
So very good. But the servers will be the next hierarchy. What is that before that? Who will decide? I have to give the request to this particular service. Who can able to do it? Who can able to manage the API calls? Can you remember I explained gave one example for the gate? If you want to step into your entire task campus, what you have to do?
Authentication.
Authentication. What is AG? What is AG? Authentication generation,
Gate.
API gateway. Okay, and top of it. Now, these entire things is on server. Is it right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? On top of this one only, the load balancer coming to the picture. Okay. What load balancer will do? Now that. So in between, like here we have the reverse proxy also we have. some other things also that is not required now. Okay. So now tell, what is the purpose of the load balancing? Why I have to use in my application? This is the entire system design. If you are anyone gave to any requirement, you have to design the system such a way like that.
Distribute the networks.
Distribute the
Network servers.
distribute the
And
network
handle the traffic.
and in the traffic. So the major things going to be, this is a server one, this is your server two. The same replica things will be available here as well. Okay. So if the request was coming, first guy will handle load balancing. Whenever if any request, API request receiving from the client side, who is the receiver first of all? Load balancer. Okay, from the backend side I am telling. Okay. Once load balancer received, now this server already processing 1,000 or 2 million requests already. So what it will decide, it will based on the availability, it will transfer request to the inside that. If you went in the particular server, each server have some API, else we can design the system in the top level as well. Okay. So if you top level design, already we have designed the API gateway, right? API gateway, what is the purpose of the API gateway mainly? So load balancing is nothing but managing the load traffic. So that means if I receive the more request, that is called as a load. Okay, more than what I expect, right? Then that is the work will done by load balancing, that will take care of it, managing that much load. It's nothing but, let's take a one small example. What is mean by big data? So big data is nothing but if you have only just 100 MB memory card, if you are adding the 101 MB, that is a big data for that memory card. Big data, it's not specifically, you can't tell that is a petabyte data. You can't tell like that. Do you know what is the mean by petabyte? After TB, anyone know that? Okay, this is more than that. Okay, so petabyte of data per second, there is a processing guys also there. Okay, how those guys are processing, that is a totally different topics, no need. But let's back to here. Okay, load balancing, what main actually it do? Whenever if any request coming, it based on the load, it will distribute it to the traffic. So in the request level, that is done. Now my request distributed. What is the next guy going to receive the request? Your API gateway. So what API gateway will do? That also like managing the traffic, and it handle the route traffic, not a load traffic. These guys handle the route traffic. What is mean by route traffic? What is mean by route? What is mean by why these guys are calling this is called as a router? What is the purpose? Anyone think thought about this one? Why these guys are put the name is called as a router? On that day I explained the things right from my laptop, how the entire architecture I explained. Now tell what is mean by why you have to use this router? Why they put the name for router?
I don't know why they keep the name of router, but what does it do? I just,
Okay, I explain.
it has the IP address. When
That
it
answer going how it
collects
is look like. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, start from it. Okay. So how it is look like? It's kind of like I got something. I never go through that. After you listen the class, are you open your laptop or search the things what I explained? Definitely not.
yes sir,
No,
I done.
no. If you research, definitely your answer not going to be like this.
I watched in some YouTube channel. My data.
Explain. Do you know why I did that before? I didn't I didn't make you explain the things, right? Why? Interviews also will be like that. But most of the guys won't do. If you are doing while telling the answer, they will raise few more questions. So what is that? Why I did that one? Any idea? What do you know? You have to clear it. Now explain.
Every system has a IP address for us. It can take that and check if we search something in our browsers, it check the IP of ours. And next, the router will connect to the internet like NS.
Here there is any flow will be Continue. Continue, you are telling correct only.
Then it will check whether it is connected to my router or not. Then it is I am DNS. Then it checks to the DNS and like that it check the IP address and whatever we searched it choose the domain and all. Gives a particular information, it search from the server and gives while searching that the proxy and load balancing, these all are involved.
Okay, fine. Yeah, good knowledge. Not too bad. So let me correct few more things. Okay. So my question, you have to clear the question first. My question is why I have to call this is as a route. I'm not asking the entire flow. So what you are telling that is overwhelmed to me. I don't need that much details. So what I need is simple. What is the work of the router? Simple. Now from my laptop, if I connect to this router, okay, I think I connected to that one only.
Connects device.
No. So I connected to the act only. Okay. But here, if I am requesting anything like GitHub IO, something is if I am doing it, if I hit the enter button, what's going to happen? If I am asked this one only, you have to tell just entire flow. From the client side, this is my client. I am the client now. If I am requesting anything to my browser, what it has to do, it connected with my router. So it's going to outside of this room. So that means it has to search over the internet, right? So it's outside of my system, my client. It going to router. From the router, it will go to the ISP. What is the name by ISP? Service provider. Internet service provider is called as ISP. Okay. Because those guys are only managing, right? Those guys only providing the internet via cable. Via cable, that request going to those guys. From those guys only going to the internet. So it will search. Here I am searching the canva.com, right? So each .com domain have the IP. So what it will accept using the DNS, it will exchange the IP. It will get the actual IP. That means that it knows what is the destination of via IP. Then like that, some other router will running in some other server. It could be the cloud. It could be the local server. Anything that is called as on-premises or cloud system. If the knows the destination IP, it will go there and get the data. Like that. Okay. Now it return back from the request. Now my GitHub, what it's did, where is my Canva, what they are doing, I request a whiteboard, right? They are returning some UI. Now that response until came my router. Now all the guys are also connected to the same router. How it exactly give that particular response to my system? If you are came to my system also, how it is currently going to the Brave browser? I opened the more than 3 or 4 browsers. How it is exactly going to the Brave browser? Now tell, what is the work of that router? What it was doing? It is actually doing the routing. Routing is nothing but, so if any request coming, I know where I have to send it. Instead of doing this one, if I send any request, it will just circulate in the router itself, it coming back again, what going to happen? I going to get nothing. So it has to go to the outside. If any response coming from that side, while you are requester, router should handle, router should route this response going to this particular system. If it is came to my system like each service was running, like this Brave browser also one of the service. If you are opening the task manager, that's showing some one service. It have the one ID. That means it has one port. Whatever application running in your machine, each one have the port. Directly and indirectly definitely has the port. Based on the port only, it identifies the system in the final response. Now tell me, what is the difference between the load balancer, API gateway, and okay, API gateway, now you got idea, right? What API gateway will do? any request will come, it should handle, it should decide, it should go to the user service, it should go to the payment service. So those things controlled by the API gateway. And if you want a more security layer also, you can add it there only. Okay. So now tell, what is the major difference between the load balancer and the gateway? Just a one liner. What is load balancer? Simple. How it is different from the API gateway? So from today onwards, what you guys will do? Okay, so whenever if you are practicing or make sure if you are listening to or learning new concept, try to like on the record, sound record or a video record or anything. Try to explain. Morning you do this one, evening you take and I see that until that time don't see look that video, okay, or hear that audio. Evening you just listen that audio, what you explain. As a end user, you just think, I don't know nothing. From your explanation, I have to understand. Simple. If now I am explaining, right? So you guys should understand. That is my goal. Like apart from that, nothing else. But what you guys doing every day, every time if I am explaining, you guys are understood. But next day you guys forget. That is the reason you guys not doing any practice. I was not doing like this. Have to do such a way. So if I know the things, that is not a big deal. I have to explain in such a way. That's called as a show. How you are showing the things. That is too important. Okay. Okay. This is a major difference between the load balancer and API gateway. Okay. Now tell what is a proxy. Middleman between the where it was
server and
Internet.
okay. Client between client and server. Okay. It will the middleman. So it's like as if middle of these two guys, it will take care of the proxy. There is a two kind of proxy. One is a forward proxy, another one is a reverse proxy. Okay. You just go through that proxy related things. Okay. Then you guys get the more idea. Okay. Why? Because these three things like a proxy, gateway, and the load balancing, they look like same, but it's not same. Just to keep in your mind as a onliner, load balancer, what it will do, it just handle your load of your entire request traffic. Just do the distribute of your request. That's it. Nothing else it is going to do. It distributed to the servers, not the services. That is totally different. Okay. When it is came to the API gateway, this is the actual guy who is the responsibility to handle the
Go to the services and
it properly. This is the which traffic load balancer will going to do that. Load balancer will take care of the load traffic. It will do the distribution to the servers. Okay, fine. Gateway, it is handling the route traffic. Simple thing, load traffic, route traffic. Understood? Yeah, I think network was done. So from here onwards, like top level things we already go through. That means like how the load balancing going to be, gateway and proxy, and what are the protocols I already explained. So this is the time just a deep dive into the next step. What is the next step? Each services is the next step. That means that how we are going to handle the data, right? So this is the data architecture and the storage choices. Okay, fine. There's nothing but choose which storage or which database, we have to get the clear idea. How many guys get the already have the clear idea about between the hard drive and the SSD? Difference between the HDD and SSD. Who know the clear difference? Both are the storage. Okay. Compare than the hard drive, the SSD was bit faster. Why it is fast? Whenever if you guys going to buy a laptop, are you guys checking the what is the SSD size, right? 512 GB or 1 TB, 2 TB. Think about this bit technical term. Why I need that much? My lab only have 256. Storage also matters, but why we are choosing, you have to know the clear idea. I also can run my Docker. Sometimes I will stuck, but I have to manage properly. How you are managing your storage? So in simple things, entire world, if you are the developer and many things, entire world running by data. If I erase the data, what will going to happen? Now, from next minute, the empty data going to be erased. What will happen? How many of coming by like a public transport or river transport or something else, Rapido or some other metros or those things? What going to happen? If those guys don't aware of the data, so that means I don't know the map. If I only remember manually, I can go here to the applicable metro station, or else I can't. If I only depend with the Rapido or something, I can't go. What will happen? So data is too important. So whenever we are focusing on the things, like apart from the networking is a totally interesting topic, but apart from the networking, like data is more than important. Why? Because entire system running based on the data only. If you are going to understand new system or designing a new system, start from the database. Don't start from the load balance. Start from the database. Which database I have to choose? Now database choose. What are the things and what is the next step? I have to design the tables. How many tables going to be for this application? What is the next step? If I had the table, based on which one are you going to able to draft the table? Based on the business logic. How my application going to work? Now these things are done, then only you have to come to the other system design is like a networking, or how you are managing your request, which protocol I have to use. If I need a server to like a service to service communication, how can I do that? So everything is the next step. Okay, what is the base layer going to be? The data only. So actually, so here you can able to choose like what kind of data you need, like a transactional, order, user payment related, or profile, or catalog based, catchy session, or time series database. So if I'm choosing this one, here is the three things will be there: single region, then is a horizontal scale, one region, multi-region, global distribution. Then is the query pattern. So this is like scale and distribution. This is the primary workload. How your entire application going to handle? What are the data? What kind of data? That is this one. Time series database nothing but can anyone know aware of the IoT? What is meant by IoT? Internet. Okay. Can anyone give any example for IoT? Route. Audio. I didn't understand.
Automatic lighting.
Okay. How are you going to control that one? Why we call that one is automatic? If I step into that, how if the light was automatically turned on? We have the sensors apart from the nothing. This is the one of the internet things. What are the object connected to the internet? You can able to control that object behavior. You can able to control that behavior of that object. That is called as the IoT. Is nothing but each two objects can able to communicate via the internet. Okay. Now if I have the my watch, okay, I can able to call from my watch. Is connected where? Now it's connected as a Bluetooth. But if it is some other things like if I have the AC in my room, okay, in my house, if I forget to turn off the AC, I can turn off from here. How the request was sent, how the things was received. So for this kind of things, time-based database you need. These are the time-based things. Which time it has to, because we can able to schedule, right? This time is heater should on automatically. This time it should turn off. So everything is time-related thing. So if you want to mainly focus on the time-related data, you have to choose the database based on that. Okay. So there is the things as available already. Okay. So this is the things you can just go through it. Which things you need. Okay. Okay, fine. So next thing is that these are the like types of databases. Like first one is the relational databases. This already we know like Postgres, MySQL, those things are the relational RDS, relational databases. Okay. Then next one is the document-based database. Another one is the key value pair database. So can anyone explain what is the difference between the each? I told you the relation. What about other two things? When I have to use? What is that? Why I have to use? Simple.
Document database begins when we doesn't have the specific keys. If we don't want the key specifically, then we go with the document.
Okay. Next. What is key value pair? Document database is nothing but whenever if your data going to be more dynamic or you want the data as a bit faster, most of the time this document database will use your RAM, not your disk storage. Most of the time this document databases will use your RAM only. But sometimes you can able to configure it. If it is using the storage, like that means a disk. Whenever if any database is using disk, that will take some time delay. Because we already know that hierarchy, right? That tabular column. So which one will be faster? Register, catchy. What is the next thing? SSD, hardware, then secondary storage, outside. Those things is a hierarchy. Okay. So document databases, moreover, is like if you are adding the data is more bit dynamic, like a flexible schema. But the relational database, what it have, you have to design properly. It is not that much flexible. I have to structure how the Java was more structured language. It has the more rules compared to the Python. Like that, relational database has some structure. You have to follow that. We don't have multiple flexible things. Actually, recently that new version came in the Postgres. Okay, I explore that. After that, I will explain. Okay, they are telling me it's going to killer of the document database also. I don't know what they did. Actually, I will explore. I will explain that. Okay. Then this is the document database. What is the key value pair database? For example, I can give the Redis. So what Redis will do? You can able to one key. You can store the value against that. Okay, these things mainly used for the cache. In your application, whenever if you need a cache, you can use the Redis and DynamoDB, RAG. Those are the things. Next one is the white column. Another one is the graph. So graph database is a bit different. Like if you want to more on give the relation between the each data, you have to want the more relational. Each data should be connected. It has the more relationship. That time we can go to the graph database. Because sometimes we are doing some querying, some ranking, order, those kind of things, right? That time we can go with graph database. What is white column? Is it visible? Tableau here visible, right? What is this? Read. So white column is morely flexible on the column. Okay, so you are able to create the multiple columns like it is bit distributed kind of things. Okay, so while you are writing is a bit faster to compare the accessing. Okay, but while you are accessing the things, the query should be query was a bit complex compared to the other databases. Okay, so this is the first thing actually. So which data you are to choose. Okay, keep in your mind these are the I think another database is also there, like that is called as a vector database. That database mainly used for the AI related things, RAG and those kind of things. Okay, if you want to match the exact match, that time you can use vector database. Normal database won't work there. Okay. Okay. Next, come to the storage model. When you have to pick which one. So here is the things. Each things have some own pros and the cons. You have to know the clear idea. Okay, let's start from the key value storage. So key value storage, when you have to choose, whenever if you are doing the cache system, you have to choose the key value pair database. So we have already knows the Redis, right? So it's mainly used from the fast lookup. Fine, that is the major things. Like if you want to session management, user preference, real-time leaderboards, rate limiting counters. So when you know any idea about the rate limiter, what is mean by rate limiter? How many of you guys have the password in your mobile phones? What is it? If you want, you can go, no problem. This is no purpose. You are sitting in the first row. What are you doing? How many times you can able to draw the wrap pattern or wrong input? How many times you can do? 3 to 5. 3 max 5. After that, what is going to happen? It will run the some time. So how those guys are managing? That also one of the rate limit example. That means that request limit the reach the limit. So you don't allow anymore. So when these kind of things, like whenever if you are using like a Netflix and those kind of things also, while you are purchasing the plan itself, they will mention you have to log in to device or one device. It should be desktop, it should be the laptop, or else it should Android, right? So if you are logging the same credential to another device, what it is going to happen? It will tell already this much logins there, which session you want to log out. That is called as session management. Okay, apart from the nothing else. Next one is the user preference. User preference is nothing but while you are managing a session, now I am asking the user which session you have to log out. Next one is the real-time leaderboards. Real-time leaderboards is nothing but like sometime you want to some leaderboard kind of things. It will be bit faster to compare than the get the data from the actual DB. Then rate limiting counter. Now you guys get the idea, right? Why? Because rate limit should be faster. You think whenever if you are draw the password or enter the pin, it is going to be count. If it is until unless if it is wrong only, I have to count, right? If it is correct, I don't need to count it because it will open the next thing. If it is wrong, I have to count. If I keep those counter in my Redis database, Redis cache, it will be bit faster. Well, because I have to give the response within the second. Millisecond, maximum 300 milliseconds is a good time response time. I have to give before that. So if I am going to get a check what is the rate limiting from this device, if I am checking that one, what going to happen? The things will be different. Each second is important. Each millisecond, not a second, millisecond. Okay. So the major example like a Redis memory only mainly know. So if you need a distributed system, you can use DynamoDB. Okay. Actively we won't use much. Okay, these are the Redis only mainly used for the cache because we know cache, what is meant by cache, right? So it won't go to the database anywhere if you are accessing. So next to come to the document database. So what I mentioned earlier, if you have the more flexible schema, and if your data was more nested, that means like one student has their student name, you can able to segregate. Normalize also you can do, but you don't need that much normalization now. If your data have, what is meant by normalization? You guys know that, right? What is normalization? What is normalization? What is denormalization?
Break down the database into chunks and do
Break into
operations on
Small.
break it into smaller unit. How much you can able to do as much possible you can able to do the relation. That is a normalization. If you don't want to that, you have to keep all the data in the same place. Let's take an example. I have one student table. In the student table only I am calculating the list of certificate, list of their achievement, list of experience, list of what are the works he done. Everything if I am keeping only one table, while accessing the query it will be more difficult. Okay, so that time you can directly you want to, but you don't don't have any necessary to do some search or some operation in the nested fields. You can use the document database. Okay, so major things is a evolving schema. If your table is planned continuously evolving, you can keep it there. Nested is nothing but is have the come data contain the another things, another data simple. Like how student contain the list of education. Each education have the colleges and it has the how many semester. Each semester have the grades. It is going to be with hierarchy, that means a nested, right? So for those time you can use the document databases. So then content management and product catalog. So these are the examples actually when you have to choose. Whenever you are managing a more content related thing, you can go with the RX product catalog. What is you guys know that what is exactly meaning of the catalog, right? Next, what are the example databases like a MongoDB and a document DB? Most of the time, is a MongoDB is the famous one. Okay, they have some other flexibilities as well. Trade-offs is mainly going to be complex for the aggregation. So, whenever we are doing aggregation, that means nothing but if you are aggregate the data, more data into one particular part, that will be a bit complex in the document database. Okay, why? Because it's already have the nested data. You think I am going to do the another nested in top of that, it's going to be messy. So that is the actual meaning. Okay. Next one is the graph database. This is mainly for the connecting the complex relationship. Like each data you are entering, you have to do the connection. Like let's take an example. Each skill is connected with some particular domain, right? Like Java, Python. These things connected to the backend technologies. So now backend technology is connected to the IT connected to the. So if this much hierarchy relationship if you need, you can go with a graph database. How the nest was built, spider net. So that much hierarchy you need. That relationship, hierarchy is nothing but hierarchy is a complex relationship. If you are mainly focusing on the complex relationship, we can use the graph database. Okay. Neo database, Neo4j, Neptune, these are the famous guys. Okay. That was the object storage is nothing but you can store the data directly. Like if you have the file, you are upload your file directly to the some cloud drive. How you are managing your drive? You can able to upload your entire object to the drive directly, right? That is the object storage. If it is the drive is for example, but if it is a real example going to be S3. What is S3? Anyone knows? S3 buckets. Do you have any idea about the AWS? You know? What is S3 then? Give the abbreviation. What is S3? Simple. Simple storage. That is another S. There should be 3 S. That's why they are mentioning as a S3. At the end, all the S going to be the service only. Simple storage service, that is called as S. And cloud storage, another one is the blob storage. Okay, so these are the object storage. Okay, next come to the replication and the sharding scaling patterns. This is a bit important things. What is mean by replication? Before the deep dive, we will get some idea. What is the exact meaning by the replication and the sharding and the scaling patterns? Scaling pattern is not a big deal. What is mean by replication? Now let's back to my so here what I told, here I have the server 2, right? It's going to replicate of my another server, right? Because that also going to process the same thing, same request. Database was shared. These two guys, we don't have some other new database. Both guys using same database. Now, if you want to do this replica of this database also, you can able to do that. So replication, like let me explain the strategies. This is called as a replication. Like what is mean by like a replication strategies. There are the few things. One is the leader follower, then a multi-leader, another is the leaderless. Okay. So what is the mean by leader follower? What is mean by leader? Simple. Who leading the all other guys, right? So that means that is the only guy going to responsible for whatever happened. So here, if we have the one primary leader that handles the writes, it have the multiple followers handle the read. Simplest replication pattern for the read scaling. It's nothing but whenever if you are going to not only the inserting, it's mainly focusing on the read and the write. Okay. So what is mean by here? It's going to be a real scaling system. If you are using this first strategy is mainly focused on the one primary leader going to handle the write. Then multiple followers. Followers is nothing but going to read. Who is the one guy going to handle the single write, handle the multiple reads? That is the leader follower strategies. Okay. So this is mainly used for the whenever if you are using heavy application, you can use these strategies, leader follower. Another one is the multi-leader. Multi-leader is nothing but multiple nodes, not only the only one guy, multiple guy was there taking your orders. That means like receiving your things right into your database. So that is the multi-leader, simple. So then requires the conflict resolution for the concurrent update. So you guys know what is the exact meaning of the concurrent, right? So requires the conflict resolution for the concurrent updates. Next one is the conflict but allow write at multiple. So this is too complex. Why? Because if I same data given to these are three guys. Like take assume if you are went to KFC, there are three guys was there taking the order. If you are telling the same order to the two guys, what is going to happen? They are managing the things will be bit different. Or they will give the order to you, but you want only one. But if they give two, you have to pay two things, right? So that's why if you are managing this monthly is a bit complex. Okay, because the conflict will happen. I ordered this guy. Now, if you want to going to cancel the order, which order you are going to cancel? First order, second order. The conflict will arise, right? So that is the multi-leader. Next one is the leaderless. Is nothing but all the nodes available to write and read. Everything is same. It is not any specific. He is not a leader. Everything is a human being. Like that, how I am going to treat it, all the things is the same. That is leaderless. If these guys don't have any particular leader who is going to lead the write and the reads. Okay. So this is the replication strategies. Okay. Then I have the sharding calculator. So you guys, if you want to use, you can use it. These are the major things like user ID, region based, and timestamp based. Okay. So these things will come to the later bit. I will explain the detail. What is the exact sharding means and how it is work. What is the purpose? Everything I will explain later. Okay. So it's going to be confusing things for sharding. Okay. So as of now, skipping, I will explain it. Next one is the catching strategies. This is too important. Okay. Now let me stop here. So until now we go through the three modules, right? So what is the purpose of the each one? First one is the storage. Which one you have to choose? Next one is the kind of databases. Okay, so the kind of database is nothing but what are the storage models we have, which database you have to pick. That is the second thing. The third thing going to be the operational pattern. So that's why like what is the replication, sharding I didn't explain now. Okay. The next thing is going to be the cache strategies. These are all the things you have to aware of it while you are designing the system. The system design round going to be like this only. If they gave the just a requirement, you have to build the system for the library management or student management. It could be anything. You have to think from this perspective. What are the databases? How the data works? So what is it going to be? You have to ask more question to that interviewer guy. What is your final output? What is the limit? How much user you want to process? 1,000 user, million requests per minute. What is your max? What you want actually concurrent? How many concurrent user you want? Like that, you have to raise such a questions. Then you start building the system. Where you are building to the flow. From the flow, finally you explain clearly each and everything. If you have picked the Redis for the cache, you have to explain why I choose the Redis over the another thing. I have DynamoDB. Why I didn't choose the DynamoDB? What is the major benefit? This is the two lightweight request you told. That's why mainly took the Redis. Like that for the example I'm telling, but it won't be like that. So keep in your mind everything. Don't mix it up. This is a two clear thing. Okay. So let's come to the cache pattern. So the cache pattern is nothing but like whenever we are going to catch the data. So I guess I hope you guys already know, have the clear idea about the cache, right? So what is the purpose, where I have to use everything. Now let's come to that how you want to use properly, which strategies you want to follow. Don't use blindly. Okay. First thing is going to be the cache aside. This is nothing but application checks cache first, then load from the DB if data miss. Like that means cache is main focus on that one only. Whenever it going to just look up my cache first, if the data is not available, then it will load from a database. That is the actual things for the cache. So this is a simple implementation, and a cache failure don't broke the app. That means if the data not available in my cache, what it is going to happen? It's going to be fetched from my database. So there is no failures. But what is the major issues like a stamped possible and the stale data is nothing but as a not a proper data. It going to the old data, that is mean as a stale. Like if you are not managing your cache properly, that means you are keeping like cache for the some counting management or ranking system. Whenever if a new student submits, you have to evaluate that student rank. You have to update the entire ranking leaderboard, right? If you are mistakenly, if you forget to update the leaderboard in the cache, release cache, whenever if you are they are checking the next time in the dashboard, it's going to show the old leaderboard only. So that is action. So mainly for the read heavy application. Okay, this is the first thing. This is a common answer. Then another one is a write through. What is mean by write through? What is write through? Cache aside is nothing but I will just directly look into the cache first. The data is not available, I can go to the database. That is write through. Whenever if you are going to add a new data, so that means if you are going to add the ranking now ranking system was updated. So what you going to do? First you have to update the database, actually your RDS, MySQL or Postgres, anything, right? Then you are going to update your Redis. Instead of doing that, simultaneously you are updating the Redis and database as well. We are doing this is called as a write through. Okay. Another one is a write back. Write back is nothing but directly write into the cache, will write to the DB later. That is called as a write back. These are the three cache things. These are the major three strategies in the cache. Okay. So next thing is the cache pattern simulator. Like this is a performance matrix. Like if you are using the cache properly, like write through pattern. So why? Because write through pattern, if you have data available both places, if you are writing in the simultaneously, we are no need to wait the data added to the database. But there is a cons also. It could be some affect the insertion in the database as well. Why? Because if any while I am inserting to the my database, if the data got not inserted, it is broken. What going to happen? They has to roll back from my cache also. But if you didn't do that, it will be become the big issue. Okay. So that these are the major things. Cap theorem, this is cap theorem mainly used for in the distributed system. Okay. So how can I explain? Okay. So before going to cap through system, these cache strategies and patterns are clear, right? Any doubts in that? Clear, right? So cap theorem is mainly going to be, so this is also one of the strategies or kind of things this is mainly used for the distributed system. If three failures are happened in your system, three services or any other three mistakes happen in your services, if you are using the cap theorem properly, maybe two services you can save out of three. These are the possibilities things if you are using the cap theorem. Okay, I will explain this one. So keeping your mind shading and what cap theorem actually doing. Why I am mentioning this is explaining later. This is going to be bit confusing. That's why I am skipping now. I will explain detailing how I explain the load balancer and gateway, right? Like that I will explain these two things. Okay. So you just keep in your mind. This is mainly used for the distributed system. Okay. So mainly used for how your system continuously available or is going to be any fault tolerance. If fault tolerance is nothing but any issue happen, how the things going to be refactored, how the things was rectified. It is a correct word. Okay. So the rest of the things is acid properties, those things. Okay. Basically, these are the basic things. So in all of you guys have a clear idea about the acid, right? Acid properties. Atomicity is nothing but all operations success or all fail. Is nothing but if I am sending the money. So this is a too important part. Focus on the atomicity first. Atomicity is nothing but if I am paying to someone, if I am paying to you, money debited from my end. That's the two possibilities. Should credited to your end, or else it should roll back to my account. If it is stuck in the middle, what going to happen? So your system going to be atomicity. So atomicity is nothing but it should be success both sides. It should be debited from my end, credited to the receiver. If it is not happened, it should fail both sides. It have money also should roll back to my end. Okay, all should success or should fail. This is called as atomicity. Consistency is nothing but we already knows. A data remains a valid operation, so it's nothing but. Isolation is nothing but whenever if you are doing concurrent operation, so it won't any interfere in that in middle like that. Okay, isolation is nothing but how we deployed our services, payment service, user service, book service we deployed to separately. Now my entire payment service went down, my other services won't affect. So simple isolation. Durability is nothing but how you are going to handle how the things were surviving in the failure. Simple. Okay. So this main example you can take it from the financial system. That's what I explained with any payment apps like a GPay, PhonePe, anyone you are using. If you are ordering the things, it should success or should fail. That is atomicity, and it should continuously available also. Consistency. So because sometimes order service was working, sometimes payment service is not working. That is not a good. It should be available to all the time. Okay, so that is a major thing. Next one is the data lifecycle and complaints encryption. Data lifecycle is nothing but how the data was managing. It's a create, update, edit, and delete. These are the major things, right? So data going to be like that, and lifecycle I will explain. These are the major things create, store, use the data, archive the data, destroy the data. Okay, so what is mean by compliance and encryption? So whenever you are creating any application, your application should follow the GDPR and HIPAA, BCI, DSS. What are these? Any idea? Anyone heard about these words? These are the full of industry words. What is mean by compliance is nothing but I think all the application in entire world around the world, each guys have the compliance. What is mean by compliance? All the applications the compliance the option will be there. If you are take the Instagram, you are getting some calls from some institution or some loan agents, those guys, right? So what you have the things you can tell them delete my data from your database. That is your rights. You can do that. If you are telling they must delete the data from their database because that is your data, your mobile number, your contact details. So that is directly violating your security, right? Because without my permission, these guys are having my data. So you can ask them. So if you are here in India also it was there, but if you are going to America, those countries, Europe, so if you are building any application, you want to roll it out, you have to get these certificates first of all. You have these guys should approve. GDPR should pass, HIPAA should pass, PCI DSS should pass. Okay. So these are the it's kind of a commission or it's kind of one formation kind of things. Okay, you should follow these rules. Okay, GDPR is mainly for that one. I have the rights to delete my data from your database. If a user request, I have to delete the data from my database. I have to do that. Okay, that is complete compliance. And the next one is the encryption. Okay, so GDPR is mainly come under the complaint related things. The right to access the personal data, right to erase. What is mean by that? I can tell if any calls I am getting from any guys, any loan agent or some other guys, I have the rights. Unless you can able to book a complaint, you can get the penalty from them. You can do that. It is totally violate the security. You can tell in Instagram also, you can delete your entire info, or if you are deleting your Instagram account, maybe the data should be there. You can tell them you can able to delete your entire data from there. Okay. And another one is the data portability, concern management. Concern management is nothing but about I managing the user data. I have to manage the user concern as well. The user no longer need to be part of my platform. I have to delete the data. I can't keep anymore. Okay. Next one is the HIPAA. So this is mainly for the health insurance, and this is mainly focused on that things this is one of the act actually. So protect the health information. So here, if you are going any job or any company, each company following some domain-based system. Domain is nothing but they are managing the health care or they are managing the transports. So each IT company is not only focused on the only one place. IT company in the all the domains. IT is the one domain, but these guys working in the all the domains: healthcare, insurance, and public transports, not else technology, some other high tech technologies. All the places the guys was there. So if you are going to the company, that company has payment related things. So now take example, PayPal only mainly focus on the payment only. Okay. So if you are taking a TCS, that these guys mainly focus on the service based, not any product. Those guys don't have. They are mainly focused on the service based. So each company is different. Okay. So whenever if you are come under the health related things, you have to follow this. And these rules may specifically more strict in the US and the Europe side. So you want to scale it up your application to those countries as well. You have to get these certificates. Then only they will approve. Okay, your application is your product can usable my country user. You have to pass these certificates. Okay. So next one is the PCI DSS. This is mainly for the payment card things. It's not nothing but The payment card industries data security standard. That is the abbreviation of the BC and DSS. Like whenever if you are paying anything, right? So if I am subscribing any AI tool or some other subscription, let's take example, I am purchasing the Canva Pro. I am giving my card details. They are sure to follow these standards actually. How are you guys storing my card details or not? If you are storing, how much time, how long the data will be in your application. Okay, that should be these are the things we are just aware of it. So these are the major things like for the come under the complaints and encryption. How your card detail encrypted and stored. Or you guys looked like whenever if any card details if you add, after added, they won't show the entire card details. They will mask only show the last 4 digits, right? So that is for the encryption. You have to do. They have to do that. That is not any random thing. These guys they have to follow the rules. If you are building the application, these rules was there. Next one is the data lifecycle management. How your data was managed. Data lifecycle already knows how the entire data going to be. Start from the create and the store. Create is nothing but once the data was generated, it's called as a creation. It's not stored in the database. Next step is storing the database. Once the data was stored, what is the major purpose? I am going to use the data. After used, if I don't need, I can archive the data or else I can delete the data. So this is the entire data life cycle. So these are the some key consideration. This is not required. Okay. So these are the major things. I gave bit examples here and below. Yeah, real world decision making for here. Okay. So if it is you guys building the banking or financial based services, so what are the must requirement? Why this choice? Okay, you have to tell proper answer. So what are the database I am going to use? Okay, if you are choosing a social media feed, 1 minute. So which one you have to choose? Here you don't need to use the ACID because social media mainly handling the concurrent user, right? How the Instagram handle this much user base. So which database you have to use? Okay, like that you can able to select. These are the domains actually. E-commerce and analytics based. For analytics is mainly for the like that large number of volumes, definitely large number of data volume will be there. Then IoT sensors. Uh, mm, yeah. What are the databases available for IoTs? This is mainly for the time series databases, right? So you have to choose like that. Then the rest of the things like how can I do that? Everything is there. This is a few intelli tips also I added. We can just go through it. Okay. Okay, fine. So until now we just focus on the which database I have to choose. What are the strategies available in there, right? Next one is the indexing. We already explained this database indexing, but let me explain again. So if you are doing the index, what is the purpose of have to do the index in the database? What is the major purpose? Why I have to do that?
To access the data
Easily, what is going to happen?
it won't take too much time to access it.
Easy is different, faster is different. So index is mainly for like if you are accessing the same column like frequently or doing that, if you are doing the more search in that particular column, you can make that field as an index. What index going to be? It will create on another hierarchy. It will take on cache. So it will create a some by default. If you are doing the index as a true, it will to store all the data stored in the B3 index. Whenever if you are accessing the things, it directly search from B3 index, not only the direct actual data. It will search here, get the response from there, it will return the response. Okay. So B3 index like that time complexity mentioned here for search. People of log of n. Another one is insertion also same. So until range is scanned, everything was same. Deleting the data from the B tree, everything is same. Okay. So B tree is nothing but this is a balanced key structure. How your data was indexed. Like this is mainly used for the for this performance mainly for like primary keys and unique key constraints and the range queries. Like I want the data between these two dates, like 1 Jan to 2 Jan or 1 Jan to 1 Feb. Like that, if you are want to do the range or else the salary between these two things. Next is the ordering, like who's have the more number of data, like large volume, this kind of ordering also you can do this. Next one is the search. Whenever if you are next take example, you have the student name. In the table definitely have the student name. From the admin point of view, they want to search. Whenever if you are telling your name, they have to get your detailed data. They have to search by your name, not your ID. They can't remember your ID. If you are telling, you also can't remember ID until unless seeing your ID card, right? So if you are telling your name, they can verify it. Search the name directly from the, against the database. Right? So this is mainly for the quick response. So it's not good for the high rate volume. That means that data that the student entry I am doing, right? If I made that column as an index, if you are writing the multiple data, so more data if you are inserting, that time it will be problematic because it has to store in the B tree as well, right? Then full text search won't work. Partial search only it will work mainly. Suffix search don't use that. Very large keys don't use that. These are the major things. Okay, by default used by this all our additional databases guys was using the B tree index. By default it will be B tree only. Okay, performance comparison I can show. So like whenever if you are okay, before that we will check the other indexing as well. Okay, another one is the LSM index in LSM tree. This is nothing but long structured merge. So that means how can I so if you are managing the IoT devices, what you have to do? You have to embed the all the things. Begin this in it should be there. You have to manage a large number of time series. So that database mainly going to be the time related things. So if you are earlier I mentioned that you are using the range, right? Date range is not a big deal, but you are going to do the seconds per milliseconds. Also you have to count in the IoT. That means it should only run the 10 minutes. So 10 minutes in the how many seconds? How many milliseconds this one should run? So everything should be quick access. Why? Because I set to only the 3 seconds timer, or else 1 second. While I am setting the itself, while setting itself it will take me the 1 second. There is no mean, right? It should be more faster. That time you can use LSM index, those kind of fields. Okay. So this is the major thing, like IoT sensor data, heavy write workloads, this kind of things you can use it. So mainly used for this database, Cassandra, the RAX, DT, Level DP, Skyla, HPace. These are the databases. Okay, it's not any new name. These are the databases name. Okay. So this is mainly for the LSM tree. Next, come to the hash index. What is the major purpose of the hash index? Any idea when you have to choose the hash index? You don't remember a hash map. What the hash map will do? Map in the sense key and value pairs. Hash map.
Exact. If you want to search anything, it will like if I want to search a student like Sneha. Sneha with the Sneha name, okay, 2 members are there. What? Like I want the with my surname. Like that. It gives a particular person.
Not a particular. It's you can tell directly exact. Okay, map is nothing but it's have the key. Key never won't be duplicated. If you have the Snega, if another new Snega was coming, your name will be gone. Your data will be continued Snega data only available. So This is the exact match key and value pair. So this is mainly used for the quick lookup. So it will be bit faster. Why? Because these guys are storing as a hash. Hash is nothing but it has some key. That's it. They converted the normal characters to the hash keys. Hash keys will for lookup. It will be bit faster compared to the direct character search. Okay. So that time you can use the hash index. Okay, this is the actual response. Okay, you can't blindly choose all index for all the things. So whenever if you are doing the primary key search, by default B3 index always best. Check the other things, how much time it was checking, 0.3 milliseconds, 0.05 milliseconds. This is also good only. Hash map will be good only. Then range query between the age like 25 to 30. Check B3 was 2 milliseconds. Rest of the guys hash map won't work here. Why? Because it's not a key value pair. It's has only one value, right? And the LSM mainly taking the 5 milliseconds. And next one is the order by, like if you have the created date, maybe all the date if you are creating your database, definitely have the date with the time with seconds, milliseconds also you have definitely. So for that order you are doing, like whoever come first, I have to give the things to those guys only. So B3 is always best for that. Next one is the bulk insertion. So B3 definitely take lot of time. If you are mentioning that one, B3 will take so much time to insert. But this time LSM and hash will be bit faster. Why LSM faster? There is no need to create another key, but hash we have to generate the hash for each keys. That way it will take some time. Okay. Then update the random row. It will take 0.5 milliseconds. Rest of the guys will be take slow. Compare than that, it will take too low. So like that, we are searching the text search. So B3 will be 3 milliseconds. Rest of the things like 8 another one is gone. So actually these are the index type and the categories. You can create the index like this, and you can specify the index also, like which index, like these are the index types is nothing but primary index is nothing but your primary key is become the index. That means whenever if you are accessing var by id particular condition you are doing, right, that far faster maybe. Then for the secondary index is nothing but this is not a non-primary columns. That means that if your table don't have the more than one primary key, each table definitely have only one primary key. You want to make other fields also, other columns also. If you want to make the index, that is called as a secondary index. Okay. Then another thing is called as a composite index. Composite index is nothing but you can just take example. You have the user database. So that time the user name and the user mail won't be same, or else you can take like that. Can you take any real world example? Okay. You took the book, let's take a library management. So I have already one book is called as Harry Potter. Or else I have the Power of Subconscious Mind. That book already you purchased or you took. Second time you are coming, how can I able to check you already purchased or you bought this book? Is not available for you. Because library management one book, that at a time only one book only they can give for that exact book. Why should you take the same book to take? Not mandatory, not needed also, right? So how you are going to do that? That is, you have to do the combination. Book name and my username. Both these should be indexed. That is a combination of the index. That is called as a composite key. Create the index based on the 3 keys. 3 or more than that, you can do that. Then unique index is nothing but always this key should be unique. Like whenever if you are in your system, you are doing the authentication email, right? So always you are doing the unique based on the email. One email that should be unique. In the same email you can't register again. You can able to only log in. Okay. Next one is the covering and the partial index. This is most of the time you won't use, but you guys get some idea. So this is mainly for the contain all the query. Like how can I tell is should whenever we are doing the query, it need all the columns. Not only single column you can do that. In your table, entire column it will take, but better you can directly go to the table itself instead of this index, covering index. Partial index is nothing but whenever any condition satisfied, that time only you can do the index. That means like if these guys are active, those guys only I have to search. Rest of the guys I don't need to search. Like who are coming the class regularly, those guys only I'm going to make the placement. Other guys I should do. So like that, how the index is going to be. Okay. So here also how which index you want to choose over another one. So here also the interview tips was there. You guys go through this, each thing, what is the purpose and everything. Then these are the column stores, each database stores.
Is using this task pilot?
I don't think so.
Industry pilot, sorry.
No.
No one is using, no? Or use the classes? Nobody opened, right? So in the call we are discussing on the team. Nobody using, no?
Okay, these are the major things. So next going to be the compute runtime. This one we'll see in the next session. Okay. So I will share these talks to you guys. You guys check it out. I forgot last time. I will share this one. Okay.
The reason we need to check, right? We need to test whether what they are using. They are not.
I can ask that.
Okay, what is the reason actually? So I just want to know that actually. Open chestalawa asalu? YouTube lo. You are putting in the YouTube. On these classes. You are watching it on YouTube only, yeah? Not in the industry pilot, huh?
So actually industry pilot, after some time you have to again log in. If I am watching the video and I want to rest or I want to after some time span I am going to use it. So again I have to log in. But in YouTube it will continue from there. That's the reason.
Yeah, those are resolved now. No longer available actually. Can you use Flask?
Last week I think.
Last week. Like this week we launched the new version as well. Okay, those issues was resolved.
Can you check today? All guys?
Like if you are facing any issue, these issues you share in the task.
In the group, you know, if you are facing any issues, just mention there actually.
Okay, next things we'll go to the cloud and deployment related. Okay.